Know, O friend, that out of the purposes for things' existence, the Quran sometimes mentions those related to humanity. This does not mean, however, that humanity was created only for the purposes mentioned. Rather, it draws our attention to their benefits, to the order and harmony they display, and thus to their makers' names. We only pay attention to and prefer that which is related to us, even if it is microscopic in preference to a sun with which we have no relation. For example, on the moon, we have determined stations, phrases for it, that you might know the number of years and the reckoning. This is only one of the moon's thousands of purposes, and it is mentioned because it is the most evident one for humanity. Know, O friend, that one of the inimitable stamps and seals particular to him, and one of the most evident signs of the unity of boundless power and endless knowledge observed in the absolute authority over existence, as well as the absolute firmness and ease in its creation and maintenance, is that innumerable different things are created from a simple single thing. For example, soil is the main element for all kinds of plants to come into existence and be maintained. Moreover, all animal and human organs, as well as their flesh and bones, blood and tissues, are made from simple food. Glory be to Him who has absolute power to make all things from a single thing, and a single thing from all things. Know, O friend, that, or are we the sowers, contains a profound meaning. Just as you store some seeds to sow later, so does the heir to all things, the reviver, the preserver, who revives the soil after its death, records the results of all plants' deeds, and preserves them for later sowing in many areas according to certain measures. Then He causes them to produce leaves and blossom as if each resided when the records are laid open. Consider how careful you are to preserve the seeds you will sow, and try to understand how perfectly the absolute preserver preserves innumerable delicate cases containing their parents' indexes as determined by destiny from change and corruption, and distinguishes them from each other without confusion. Such preserving does not mean that you can do whatever you wish and then die for eternal rest. Does humanity think that it will be left to roam at will? No. He preserves your deeds, the seeds of your eternal life, and you will be called to account for whatever you do in this world. Know, O friend, that humanity's particular attributes and essential qualities were given so that human beings could pursue the Creator's essential qualities and attributes. To understand His destroying and rebuilding of the universe and resurrecting everything that has died with all of His other disposals in the other world, consider His revival of soil in spring and its death in autumn and winter. This will give you an idea of the supreme resurrection and interpretation of such verses as, when the sun is folded up. Know, O friend, that Islam's essentials encompass everything from the owner's greatest names and attributes and creation of the supreme throne, the heavens and earth together with their angels, down to the occurrences in your heart. They also encompass all that is between the heavens and earth. In the name of God, the All-Merciful, the All-Compassionate. Let not the life of the world delude you, nor let any deluder delude you in regard to God. Know, O one who invites Muslims to the worldly life, a plaything of sleep and sport, urging them to live the lawful sufficient for them to satisfy their needs and desires for the forbidden, as well as some public marks of Islam or even the religion itself. You resemble a drunk who cannot distinguish a wild, ravenous lion from a docile horse, a hangman's noose from a child's skipping rope, a gaping wound from an opening rose. You suppose the lion to be the horse, the noose to be the skipping rope, and the open wound a red rose. Despite this, you think that you are putting things right. You resemble one who sees a person in a dreadful condition, a lion behind him waiting to attack, a gallows in front of him, and two grievous wounds on either side of his body. He has two kinds of medicine that will change the wounds into two red roses, two talismans, one in his tongue, the other in his heart, that will cause the lion to change into a horse, that will carry him to the presence of his munificent master, who invites him to the abode of peace to feast. The hangman's noose dangling from the tree of decay and mortality will, by God's grace, carry him through continuously changing scenes to increase the pleasure taken in the renewal of their beauty, forms, and favors through the days and seasons, years and centuries. You say, leave those talismans and medicine and let's amuse ourselves. The person replies, what I am allowed to do by preserving the talismans and medicine is enough for my pleasure, for only they bring true pleasure and happiness. Can you kill the lion of death that will die only in paradise, remove decay and mortality, and so change earth into something other than itself, heal my wounds of impotence, and so change my fleeting, perishable life into a permanent, everlasting one, and cure my other wounds of poverty and destitution into perpetual richness? If you can, I will do as you say. Otherwise, leave me alone. You can deceive only other drunks who cannot distinguish between laughing and crying, permanence and transcendence, remedy and ailment, and deviation and guidance. God is sufficient for me. How good a guardian He is, and how good a helper. Know, O friend, that students of corrupt, misguided civilizations and philosophies are driven by greed and various passions. They invite Muslims to follow foreign traditions and customs, to abandon their public marks radiant with the light of Islam. Students of the Qur'an respond, if you can remove decay and death from the world, and impotence and poverty from humanity, then you may be indifferent to the religion and its public marks. Otherwise, keep silent, for your words are no more than a fly's buzzing compared to the thunder-like cry of the four things mentioned above. The laws of creation and life also proclaim the necessity of the religion and of following its public marks. When the Qur'an is recited, give ear to it and listen in silence, so that you will find and be treated with mercy. The line of the appointed hour of death is behind us, waiting. If you believe in the Qur'an, that lion will change into a horse, and separation will become a brook to carry you to the mercy of the all-merciful, all-compassionate, to the presence of our Master, the all-affectionate, all-munificent. Otherwise, that lion will rip us apart and eternally separate us from what we love. Decay and transcendence are also before us in the form of alternating day and night, and perishing and separation as seasons and years. These things, death and separation, decay and transcendence, are gallows set up to hang us together with all our beloved ones. If we follow the Qur'an, all of these become a mount for a pleasant journey on the stream of time, an ocean of the world, to observe the operations of divine power through successive seasons, following one another by the sun's wheel and earth's rotation wrapping around its head, the turban of days and nights, and wearing the garments of summer and winter one over the other. During that journey, we can observe the continuous renewal of the divine name's manifestations on moving objects, in changing mirrors and on altering tablets, anything changing in parallel with the changing of days and seasons through the alternation of days and nights. Moreover, on our right side is the want of infinite poverty. We are poorer than all other animate beings, while our power to satisfy all our material and spiritual needs is lesser than that of a sparrow. If we cure our wants with the Qur'an, our painful, innate poverty changes into a pleasure-giving zeal to sit at the feast of mercy and into a pleasant appetite for the fruits of the mercy of the All-Merciful, All-Compassionate. The pleasure of feeling one's poverty and impotence before the Almighty is much greater than that of being apparently rich and powerful. Otherwise, we will suffer the pain of need and the humiliation of begging from and bowing before whoever we expect to satisfy our needs. On our left side is the deep want of infinite impotence despite unending hostility and danger. The pain of fear destroys the world life's pleasure. But if we submit to the Qur'an's call, our impotence leads us to trust the absolutely powerful one and secures us against all hostility. Otherwise, we will continue to suffer hostility and danger in our boundless impotence. Furthermore, our journey extends through the grave and the resurrection to eternity. Neither the world nor human reason can illumine the veils of darkness enveloping the way, nor do they provide the necessary food. Our way is illuminated only by the Qur'an's light and the food from the All-Merciful One's treasury. If you have something that will prevent our journey, provided that it is not misguidance, declare it. Otherwise, keep silent and let the Qur'an say what it says. While we are reading these 5 verses in the book of creation, that is, the world's decay and ephemerality, as well as each individual's death, impotence and poverty, and long journey, how can we follow you, O conceited, deceived one, especially after we hear the verse? Let not the life of the world delude you, nor let any deluder delude in regard to God. Only those drunk with the wine of politics or passion for fame, ambition for praise, ethnic or tribal preferences, atheism, or modern dissipation follow you. The blows we receive must bring us to our senses. Unlike animals who suffer only the present's pain, we suffer the present's pain, the future's anxiety and grief, and those of the past as well. If you do not want to remain the most wretched, foolish, and misguided of all animals, keep silent and listen to the Qur'an. Assuredly, God's friends, no fear shall come upon them, neither shall they grieve. They believe and refrain from sins in fear of God. For them is good tidings in the life of the world and in the hereafter. No change can there be in the words of God, that is the supreme triumph. In the name of God, the All-Merciful, the All-Compassionate. By the fig and the olive and Mount Sinai and this city secure. Surely we have created human of the best stature as the perfect pattern of creation, then we have reduced him to the lowest of the low, except those who believe and do good, righteous deeds. So there is for them a reward constant and beyond measure. What, then, O human, causes you, after all these realities, to deny the last judgment? Is not God the best of judges and the most powerful of sovereigns? Know, O friend, that the firm and perfect artistry in everything show that the Maker of all things is present and near all things, even though he is not contained by space at the same time. As people need all things, it does not befit them to worship anything or anyone other than him in whose hand is the dominion and who possesses the treasuries of all things. With respect to existence, invention, and doing good, we are more impotent and powerless than an ant or a bee, and weaker than a spider or a gnat. As for destruction and evil doing, our capacity is greater than that of the heavens, earth, and mountains. For example, our good only extends to what our hands can reach, while our evil may have a far-reaching influence. Denying the Almighty reduces the universe or all creatures from missives of the Lord and mirrors of divinity to matter subject to change and decay, playthings for aimless chance. This view reduces human beings from well-composed, harmonious pieces of poetry manifesting the divine names, the seed of a permanent, everlasting tree, and a wise grant of God superior to all creatures by virtue of bearing the supreme trust to the lowest and most debased, powerless, and destitute mortal animate being. Our ego is given free will, but is as weak as a hair, of little capacity, faint, and short-lived like a distant flash of light. However, our impotence and poverty is so great that we can be a vast mirror for the infinitely powerful and eternally wealthy One's manifestations. Our worldly life, despite being like a seed endowed with innumerable parts to grow into a tree spreading throughout space, is reduced to striving, like a hen scratching the soil, to obtain some mean substances after which we dissolve in the soil. But in our immaterial life, we are like a perpetual tree with the branches of desire extending into eternity. Our work and effort show that we are no more than weak, impotent animals that can act only as far as our hands can reach. However, our praying and asking make us a noble guest of the all-merciful One, who has opened for us His mercy's treasuries, subjugated to us all of His arts marvels, and allows us to act within a sphere that is much vaster than that we can see or imagine. With respect to our life's pleasure and perfectibility and its tranquility and stability, we are lower than a sparrow, for our pleasure is clouded by grief for the past and anxiety for the future. Our parts, senses, and feelings, as well as our potential's development, guide us to one task in this life, to observe, compare, and reflect upon all creatures and to witness their glorification of God. We must pray to God for our needs and worship Him in due perception and acknowledgement of our impotence, poverty, and defectiveness. We have such a comprehensive nature that we may worship the Creator in many ways. This makes us superior to all other creatures. A person with even a little intellect must conclude that all of our parts have been given to us for eternal life. If a master gives a servant some money to buy a garment made from a particular cloth, and another servant a great deal of money to buy a garment, we would conclude that the master expected them to buy garments made from cloths of different qualities. The cloth chosen by the second servant must be far more valuable than that chosen by the first. If both servants bought the same quality of cloth, the second one certainly would be punished. Despite, or rather because of our lack of power and strength, we are far stronger and more powerful than other animate beings. Through our prayers and asking for help, what we cannot obtain is subjected to us through His power. Like an infant, our tears bring to us that which we cannot reach even with a power thousands of times greater than our own. As we are superior to all other animate beings because they are subjected to us by Him, not through our own unassisted power of grasping, overcoming, and attraction, we should admit our impotence and weakness, poverty, and destitution, and implore God for help through supplication and worship. By observing divine lordship's beautiful and perfect splendor, heralding his sacred name's marvelous manifestations, perceiving the contest of his mercy's treasuries, knowing the gems stored in the manifested name's treasuries, studying and reflecting on the pen of the powers mysterious, and looking forward to seeing his creatures' subtleties, humanity is the noblest creation and ruler of earth. In the name of God, the all-merciful, the all-compassionate. O humanity, you are poor before God and in absolute need of Him. Flee unto God. O failing, helpless, poor sight, with respect to your selfhood, you are constantly imperfect and have infinite helplessness and poverty, need and desire. As you are given hunger and thirst in order to know and experience the pleasure of the Almighty's bounties, you are loaded with failure and poverty, impotence and neediness, so that you should view the loved works of the all-glorified's perfection through your failure. Use your poverty to measure His wealth and mercy, your impotence, His power and grandeur, your need, the variety of His bounties and favors. You were created to serve Him, which means declaring your failure before the door of His mercy with, I ask God for forgiveness, and all glory be to God. Your power with, God is sufficient for us, and all praise be to God, and begging from Him, and your impotence with, there is no power and strength save with Him, and God is the all-great, and by asking Him for help. Thus, the beauty and grace of His Lordship are seen in the mirror of your servitude. In the name of God, the all-merciful, the all-compassionate. Surely, the virtuous and godly ones will be in perpetual bliss, while the wicked, dissolute ones will be in the blazing blame. Know, O heedless sight, there are only two ways in our journey through life to the grave. They are of equal length. One is harmless, and all those with insight and discernment say that it contains great benefit. 90% of those who follow it will obtain that benefit. The other way contains no benefit. In fact, those with discernment and religious scholarship say that it contains great harm. It is 99% harmful, but those following it do not have to carry any weapon, and food, those following the first way do. They seem to bear no burden, but you do not see their hearts, which bear a burden 100 times heavier, or their spirits carrying a burden of fright and terror. The following parable clarifies this. You decide to go to Istanbul. There are two roads of equal length, one on the right and one on the left. Those with discernment, observation, and sufficient experience say that the right road contains many benefits and no harm. Its travelers carry weapons and food, but do not have to worry or fear about being obliged to others for satisfying their need, which is a tremendous burden. As for the other road, millions of people of experience and religious scholarship say that it contains no benefit, although those who follow it seem to bear no burden and carry no weapons or food. But their spirits are burdened with fear, and their hearts are burdened because they must rely on others to satisfy their need. Such burdens are 1,000 times heavier than carrying a weapon and food. Those who have almost completed their journey or have seen what the travelers face both during and after their journey tell us that those following the right way travel in security, and on reaching their destination, 9 out of 10 of them are welcomed with great reward. Those following the left dangerous way suffer fear and hunger, and because of their fear and need, must humble themselves before everything or everyone. When they reach their destination, They either are called to account for their journey or killed, and only one, or at the most 2, out of 10 are saved. One with even a little intelligence does not choose that which is harmful for the sake of not having to carry a burden. How can something 99% harmful be preferred to what is 99% beneficial? You are the traveler, and Istanbul is the intermediate world of the grave and the hereafter. The right way is that of the Qur'an, which requires belief and performing the 5 daily prayers. The left way is that of sin and rebellion. People of discernment and experience are saints who experience the pleasure in Islamic truths. A saint experiences what an ordinary person believes. The weapon and food are the religious obligations. This includes the 5 daily prayers, confirming divine unity, relying on God and asking Him for help, and trusting in the all-powerful, all-preserving, and all-knowing One, as well as on the all-wealthy, all-munificent, and all-compassionate. Those following the right way are saved from humbling themselves before whatever or whoever they expect may benefit or harm them, for believing there is no deity but God means that only He can dispense harm or benefit.